Yes, a very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. It's a Thursday morning, and would you believe we had a sprinkle here just a couple of minutes ago? Nothing heavy, no big deal. Anyhow, let's settle down and get into today's edition of Good Day Grenada. I'm George Grant, and this morning we're going to turn things around a little bit. What do I mean by that? Well, usually we have Allan here on a Thursday. And yes, Allan's here. He is here. We're going to be seeing and hearing from him in just a wee bit. But today, a little bit earlier than he normally comes on. Why, do you ask, is Allan going to be here? Well, he's got some business to take care of, so he wanted to get on a little bit early. So we thought we would just rearrange the rundown somewhat so that we could facilitate his desire. We're just happy to have him here, and I'm sure that he's happy to be with you as well. So we're going to get to Allan in just a couple of minutes, but first, after we do Allan, we'll do another segment which we have lined up for you. It's about more pay for parliamentarians. Uh-huh. You're going to hear the reason why they should get more pay straight from the lips of the chief himself, Prime Minister Keith Mitchell. We're going to run that by you in just a wee bit. Now, having said that, I just want to brief you, give you a little update on today's cruise ship calls. This morning I had the pleasure of sitting here and watching a couple of pretty large cruise ships come into port today. Would you believe today you have, as far as capacity is concerned, you have over 6,000, in fact, close to 7,000 people descending on the Spice Isle today. The first one to come in was the Britannia. Now, that's a pretty large ship. She has something like 4,000, or a capacity of 4,324. She was the first man in port this morning. First lady, I beg your pardon. And a little later on, along came the Celebrity Summit. That one ain't nothing to shake a stick at, let me tell you. She has a capacity of 2,450. So you add those up, you have more than 6,600, assuming that they're all full today. The summit's going to be in port until 5 o'clock this afternoon. And then you have the Britannia departing an hour later. She's supposed to hightail it out of here at about 6 o'clock this evening. Okay? Now that's it for today as far as the cruise calls are concerned. Tomorrow, we have two more. Not as big as the ones you have in here today, but nevertheless, they're bringing some folks in. Tomorrow you have the Norwegian Dawn, which is has a capacity of 2,340, and the Seven Seas Navigator with a capacity of only 490. Okay, so you're talking, let's see here, 6,600 plus 2,000, 8,000, 9,000 plus people in here this week. Not a bad week, eh? For those of you involved in the cruise industry, let's be thankful for small mercies. You know, we're happy about that. Now, I mentioned to you that Allan is Allan has to get out of here a little bit early this morning, so he has to be on at 9:05. Well, I sent a note to him saying, sure, no problem. Call me when you're ready. Well, I guess he ain't ready because it's 9:05 coming up on 9:06. And we're just going to wait for half a sec here and see whether or not he does, in fact, show. I'm really, really hoping that he does. In the meantime, Allan, don't keep these people waiting. I see that they're already out there on Facebook this morning, as well as on the other platforms we're on. On Facebook, Margaret is saying, good morning. Hello, Maggie May. Good to see you. Hope things are warming up a wee bit in the Big Apple. John is out there in Carriacou saying good morning from parish number 7. Irene Rattan says, good morning, patriots. The struggle is real. Girl, the struggle is real. You know, Grenada has a hell of a history. I mean, going back to the 1700s, I think. We've always had turmoil in this place, eh? Turmoil. But we've gotten this far, and by God's grace, we'll go the rest of the way as well. Then, who else is... my goodness! Deborah Parker Stratus Robinson. Girl, you got a long name. She's out there in the state of Missouri in the United States. She's saying, good morning, George. Hope your day is a great one. Girl, I'm certainly hoping that way as well. And it is so nice to see you as well. I met this lady years ago. She was in here on a cruise ship, actually. And we have remained friends ever since. And boy, I do look forward to the day when we can meet again. Hope that's not going to be too long from now, Deborah. So that's what I'm seeing on Facebook at the present time as we kill some time here waiting on AB to show up. Let me take a look and see where the other folks around the world are on this Thursday morning. Yeah. They're in Germany. They're in a place called Ruislip in England. They're in Thornhill. That's in Ontario, Canada. They're in Waterloo. That's, hey, whatever happened to the Wellington? It used to be called Waterloo, Wellington. What happened to you guys? You dumped Wellington? Anyhow, that's in Ontario. Brooklyn, New York, and somebody out there in the Netherlands this morning as well. Washington, D.C. The Don. The Don's checking in to see how the strike action's going down here. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Anyhow, Washington, D.C., nice to have you on board. Toronto in Canada is with us as well. A place called Dudley. Dudley is in England. Yeah, Dudley's in England. Okay, and turn back here to Facebook this morning. Irene Rattan says, oh my goodness, connection bad again this connection bad again this morning. Irene, I know not what else to say to you people. Yes, I do know what to say. I will ask you, yes, the live is again a disaster this morning, as it has been for several months. Okay? Yes. Now, having said that, Irene, I'm going to ask you to please hang in there, assuming that you can fathom that, tolerate that. Hang in there. Once the program is over, it's being recorded. So once it's over, we will put it up on the Facebook site. We're also going to put it up on YouTube. Once it's up on both of those sites, you can go back and watch it at your leisure. And I don't expect that you will have any of the buffering that you're having here when we do the live, okay? So Facebook and YouTube. Now, when things are working fine, within 5 minutes or so of the program ending, you can go on back to Facebook and watch it in its entirety. Okay? Now, however, because of all the buffering and interruptions and everything that's going on here, sometimes, my friends, it takes more than an hour to get up to Facebook. You heard me? Hey, forget about more than an hour. On the weekend, it took me 8.5 hours to get that program up to Facebook. Sundays with George Grant, remember that? 8.5 hours. And I keep being made promises and promises and promises, but the issue still persists. Okay? So, at the moment, we're using Digicel, which is supposed to be really, really fancy stuff. And today, after this program this morning, I intend to switch back to our old provider, Green Dot. Okay? We had a lot of problems with Green Dot, but I'll tell you one thing. It was never the disaster that we're experiencing with Digicel. Okay? So, I see that Allan has shown up. Good morning, Mr. Brzezinski. Can you hear me, sir? Yes, he's giving me the finger there, so that means he's hearing me. Don't talk to me yet. I can't hear you yet. I can't hear you yet. But just let me say something here on Facebook from Margaret. Margaret says, thank you, Margaret. Margaret says, Irene, you can get the audio stream on GRENADABROADCAST.com. The audio is great. No dropouts or buffering. That's something I should have mentioned to you folks. Not just on Grenada Broadcast. That's on the homepage, which you're supposed to be on right now. Top right-hand corner, it says Listen Live. Yes, you can hear us there, but you can also hear us on TuneIn. You can also hear us on Radio Genre and also on Radio Garden. Okay, now, as I indicated, Mr. Brzezinski is in the house, and I know that he's hearing me, with a purple polo shirt this morning. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I am confused this week. This week has been busy.
Oh.
First of all, we had the announcement that Republic Financial Holdings is purchasing the operations of the Bank of Nova Scotia.
Yes, sir.
Then we were trying to digest that bit of news when we heard out of the blue that Sagicor, Wise Financial Thinking for Life, is selling their shareholding to a venture capital outfit in Toronto.
Yes, sir.
Called, what is it? Something acquisition, Align-Vest Acquisition, something or other. AQV is the symbol on the Toronto Stock Exchange. And we're wondering, where is this going? And then GBN puts out a headline, Rex to close.
Yep.
I was in shock.
Yeah.
But then when the story came up,
Bless you.
Thank you. And then when the story came up, it wasn't Rex is going to close. After the end of the current season, they're going to shut for renovations, and they're going to reopen bigger and better and going up to the top of the line.
Under a new name, right?
And where they are relatively close to the airport and relatively close to Sandals, it seems that they are saying that they are the best all-inclusive ever. So the competition is going to be interesting to watch. Because if we know one thing about Gordon Butch Stewart, he wouldn't take that lightly. So all I can say is my sympathies lie with the local owners of high-end properties. And I don't know. I don't know why you laughing at.
Uh, uh, no.
So anyhow, Silver Sands has opened, um, and from the reports that I have heard from the privileged few who were granted access, it was it is a thing of beauty and a joy to behold. So I look forward to wealthy people coming and ensuring that Grandance Beach is maintained in the pristine condition in which they have met it.
Well,
So,
a couple of things, AB. First of all, like you, I have not been into the property, okay? However, I have been along the beach, and I tend to agree. It's a fabulous building to look at. It really is a nice looking complex. And from the video I have seen of the interior, it's also incredibly beautiful. Now, I'm wondering if a promise that was made to me just after they got started, they called and invited me to come take a look at the property. And I thought, geez, you're only just getting started. Why don't we wait until you're finished, building the property, and then you can give me the guided tour, which is exactly what they had promised, the guided tour. And they said to me, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll call you back, okay? Maybe that was maybe about 2 years ago, whenever they started building the property. And
right.
I still haven't heard from anybody, So maybe along the line I'll get another invitation. But I'd really like to see that property because despite all the brouhaha around it, beautiful sight. I just wanted to throw that in. No, go ahead. So you didn't get invited to the opening either, eh?
No, 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 no. Not that I'm terribly disappointed. It's because it is better to keep a low profile in these
Absolutely.
times.
Absolutely. I
But
agree.
so, talking about keeping a low profile, clearly that is not what Republic Bank intends to do. Because Republic Bank Financial Holdings, a couple of years ago, made an effort to try and buy all the minority shareholders in Republic Bank Grenada. That led to some interesting debates. And the end result was that they didn't get beyond 75%
Right.
as at last report. So it means that in spite of the fact that they stopped paying dividends for 3 years, I believe, that the minority shareholders decided, listen, you guys are up to something. We don't know what it is, but we banning we belly and we holding on for dear life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it is becoming apparent that Republic Financial Holdings had a plan for us. So it will be interesting to see what happens now going forward. The Prime Minister of Antigua has already said that they can't do that. He has to be consulted, and that he knows that there are Antiguans who want to buy Scotiabank's operations in Antigua. I'm not surprised at that because the last time they had some big banking operations in Antigua, a lot of people lose their work. Mm-hmm. And the CEO, Mr. Stanford, is in jail. So presumably there are people with experience who are looking to take over the operations or the portfolios of Scotiabank. Mm-hmm. As to what Republic plans to do is very much up in the air. They have said that after they spend all this, 123 million US dollars, that this should allow for an increase in their earnings per share of 20 cents US. In the first full year of operations after the acquisition is completed. That has no impact on us in Grenada because unless you have shares in Republic Financial Holdings, which is quoted on the Trinidad Stock Exchange, I believe. But what we are more concerned about will have to be the concentration of banking business in fewer financial institutions. Now, this does in fact and has proven to have provided opportunities for local credit unions and the locally owned bank, the cooperative bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of which have reported significant increases in assets over the last few years, while Republic um, has not shown similar growth. Having said that, to be fair, when you have a large footprint, it's not easy to get the sort of percentage increases that smaller institutions which are growing can point to proudly. So we waiting to see. We want to see what happens. There's a significant phrase in the press release which relates to capitalization of post closing of branches, or words to that effect. I don't have the document in front of me. I think the representative of the union has already said that nothing to worry about because any sort of changes in arrangements must only be done and can only be done within the parameters of the collective bargaining agreement. So we shall see. We remember what happened when Barclays was taken over by First Caribbean, and we had people demonstrating in the streets and so forth. Not necessarily a good idea, but we shall see if any lessons have been learned.
Maybe
But the
as I listen
go
to you,
ahead.
I have to ask you this question: Are you at all concerned about the impact that this acquisition could have on? When I say Grenada, I'm talking about the man on the street, the customers of Scotiabank or the new institution that's going to evolve as a result of this. Are you concerned that um, there may not be a corresponding improvement in the services that are being offered to us? People are complaining a lot about the banks in this place right now.
All of the banks, because of the control of the central bank, where I think 20% of the assets are required to be placed on reserve with the central bank, non-interest bearing. And the central bank has mandated a savings rate, minimum savings rate of 2%. Banking is expensive in the small territories. And so that is why customers have experienced the increases in user fees and the ingenious ways in which the banks have found means to create new and improved user fees. But the issue of service
Uh-huh.
is best addressed by the surveys that have been done. And I'm not going to go out on a limb and say which of the banks operating have the best service. That's not my business. It is the bank's business. They have to compete. But I will say that technology makes a big difference. And I am not at all certain that Republic has the sort of customer-friendly interface online that that is on par or anywhere near on par with some of their competitors.
Mhm.
And I would hope going forward that their customers will either tell them, listen, you control plenty more now. You got to do something about that online banking system, or we will walk. Because there you can still walk. And I have to say that the credit unions have been making strides. Cooperative Bank has been making strides. So we shall see.
You know,
But
before you go too far into the credit unions, AB, yes, there have been a lot of complaints about the fees, but that's something I guess we're just going to have to live with for the time being. The part that drives me crazy, AB, is the customer service, AB. Customer service. I mean, you walk into a bank with 8 wickets, you've got 200 people in the bank, and you've got 2 tellers. Come on, AB, come on. Show a little respect for the Grenadian people. People are lined up out to the door, and you've got two tellers?
And that is what is a function of inefficient supervision and management. It 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 sends the message that they don't really give
Never
whatever
mind, never mind.
already. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember one day I questioned that at one of the banks, and you know what? The youngster, I guess he was very well intentioned, said to me, "Well, Mr. Grant, we have automated banking now and online banking and all of that. So we're trying to get the people used to adopting to using the ATMs and using their computers."
Yeah. The idea is they want to frustrate the hell out of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And what agency in Grenada should be monitoring stuff like that? Is there a consumer protection agency that should be monitoring stuff like that?
My recollection and experience of the Consumer Protection Agency within the Ministry of, is it a Consumer Affairs Division in the Ministry of Finance, I believe?
Something so.
I think basically what they do is they walk around the closest supermarket and take note of prices.
Ah, I see. In the meantime, you and me,
That's what I saw.
you and me, Mr. Grenada, will continue to suffer. All right, go back to your credit unions.
No. I think they are demonstrating the capacity to offer alternatives. But I wanted to wrap up by talking about Sagicor.
Okay.
Because, the precursor, Barbados Mutual, I mean, that Barbados Mutual, apparently they go back about 170 years or something like that. And I remember, I don't know if it was 20 years ago or whatever, they changed the status from a mutual association to shareholding. And so people who were members of Barbados Mutual actually were issued with some shares, which are quoted on the Barbados Stock Exchange. Now, what I found interesting about the announcement was that, subject to regulatory approval, the acquisition will offer to shareholders of up to 10,000 shares a cash amount, and the balance of their shareholding will be exchanged for the Canadian company's shares listed on the Toronto Exchange. That in itself, I believe, will create some interesting hurdles, because if you earn money in Canada and you are non-resident, I suspect that there may be some requirement to file forms with whatever the revenue authority in Canada is called. So we'll have to start going back to school. We'll see how these things all work out. But again, if they're making this offer to buy the shares of shareholders who have up to 10,000 shares, it means that they want to eliminate the hassle of having to deal with a large group of smaller shareholders. And let me tell you, it's a large group, because we're talking about the Dutch Caribbean, Cayman, Jamaica, the OECS, Barbados, Trinidad. Sagicor is a massive, massive entity. What I hadn't realized is that they were actually still quoted, in addition to Barbados and Trinidad and Jamaica, they quoted on the London Stock Exchange as well. So that must have cost them a pretty penny.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it has been an exciting week. Basically because I have no idea what is taking place.
All right. I have a note here for you. I know you have to run, AB, but I have a note here from Margaret. Margaret's in New York, and she's saying, Allan and George, like it or not, electronic banking and ATMs are where banking is headed. It costs to hire employees, and machines can do it cheaper. If you want a human, then be then be prepared to pay for it with additional fees. So says Maggie.
Good point, but that is clearly the case. As we say, the banks are using frustration to try to drive customers to use the ATMs. But we have to remember that we are still, after 40, how many years now? 44 years of independence, we are still dealing with an unsophisticated community where there are still people who go to the bank and they draw the money with their pass card and count it and put it back. They want to make sure the money is still there. And it's actually, this is true. It is true.
Been there, done that, eh?
Yeah. So I will leave you with that one. Listen, in 1981, Maurice Bishop famously said in his line of march speech that the masses are of a low cultural level. And you tell me, in your honest opinion, whether or not you believe that since Maurice said that the cultural level has increased to any great extent.
You're right there. You're right there. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. Okay, Amy, thank you very much on that note. But again, I'm going to hold you for half a second longer. I got to ask you this question. This has nothing to do with banking. Every morning when you sit in front of that, are you using a smartphone or a computer?
My iPhone.
Your iPhone. Okay, great picture from your iPhone. Just to the right, your right shoulder. I have been noticing this picture of somebody there with a caption, Ethiopia. And my curiosity has finally got the better of me this morning. Who that? Who that?
That is taken from the cover of National Geographic magazine in 1967 or something like that. It was a photograph taken of a young tribesman in Ethiopia. That's before Ethiopia was discovered by warring factions and all of that.
Well, at least
it's a beautiful photo.
Beautiful, and at least you cleared one thing up for me. You said it's a man, right? Because I had my doubts. I really wasn't sure.
a young man.
A young man. Thank you very much, Mr. Bashinsky. As always, we appreciate having you. You have a good day, and we'll see you next Thursday morning.
Bye.
Okie doke. AB. Good to see him as always, my dear friends. While you were listening to AB, we have now been joined by Veronica Sandy saying good morning. Fitzroy Adams is saying Brooklyn's in the house. T.F. Richards is also with us, and so is Beverly Mitchell. Folks, nice of you to join us. Now, for those of you who were a little bit puzzled to see Allan on so early this morning, you obviously missed the top part of the program, and I just want to repeat that he came on early because he does have another engagement to attend to right now. However, all is not lost, my dear friends. You can go back to Facebook, and later on today, you can check out the interview or conversation, if you will, in its entirety. And as Margaret informed you guys a little while ago, if you're having hassles with the stream there on Facebook, you can listen to us on GRENADABROADCAST.com. On the page you're on right now, top right-hand corner, you listen to the audio stream. No video there, just audio, okay? Let me take a little break, and then we're going to come back with a little segment. Yeah, man, I want to run this by you. I came across something that I think many of you are going to be interested in, probably have some comments. But first, take a break, Come back.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Spread some cheer and show you care with GrenLec's Give a Wish promotion. Do you know someone who has had a challenging year and deserves some good fortune, or a worthy cause that needs extra support? Grant them a wish this holiday season with GrenLec. Just pay your bill in full, then write their name, address, and phone number on the top portion of your bill. Add your phone number and drop it into the wish box at any of our GrenLec customer centers, or you can enter online via our Facebook page. 15 customers will receive a $500 electricity voucher for giving a wish to someone who deserves it, and 15 winners will each have their wish granted, valued at up to $1,500. What's more, 230 lucky customers will win $75 electricity vouchers. Spread the cheer this year with GrenLec's Give a Wish promotion. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends December 21st.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas, will give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
Welcome home.
Alrighty, folks, 23 minutes away from the hour. Today I intend to stay away from labor relations and just let things play out, right? Now, what I'd like to share with you this morning, however, is a piece which I grabbed from the closing of last week's sitting of Parliament. I don't know whether or not you heard, but a move is about to be made to ensure that parliamentarians are well paid. Yeah, you heard me. At the close of last week's sitting of Parliament, Prime Minister Mitchell addressed the matter. He went to great lengths to point out that permanent secretaries are being paid more than ministers, including himself. He used as an example the fact that in 2018, the minister's salary in the Ministry of Social Development is $67,925 per year, compared to the permanent secretary's salary of $84,684. You're talking about a discrepancy there of $20-something thousand. But he also made it clear that while he will be pushing for an increase in the salaries, he will not accept that increase as far as his own salary is concerned. Now, here, my dear friends, is the actual statement made by Prime Minister Mitchell at the closing session of last week's Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, we've just gone through the entire estimates of expenditure with the presentation from different ministries. So there's not much more I need to say on this second reading But just to say this, Mr. Speaker, something I did not mention in my presentation, and I just thought it's important to show you what is happening with the salaries of ministers. You know, I think it's important, and that is not an attempt to put down anyone, because I'm not talking about the monies. I'm only comparing it to a salary of, for example, a permanent secretary in the ministry. The minister's salary, the Ministry of Social Development, in 2018 is $67,925. That's in the permanent secretary now of the same ministry is $84,684 per annum, per annum. And in 2019, the minister's salary remained the same as $67,925 in 2019. But the PS salary goes up to $88,068. So the minister is the boss, but the PS is making $21,000 more dollars. And this is not, colleagues, let me be very clear. The PS deserves her salary. I'm not questioning the salary of the PS, especially if that person is working hard. They deserve it. But something has to be wrong. When a system operates, the boss is getting $21,000 less than the next person in line with authority in the ministry. And that goes throughout. The Prime Minister's salary is $80,000. So a PS makes much more than the Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'm not concerned about me at all. I'm more concerned, Mr. Speaker, about a lot of the other members of Parliament who are not in a position to be independent as I am. I'm very concerned how some of them survive, because they get the same demands that I get, probably more because I'm Prime Minister, so people come from all over the country. But their salary is not theirs. The little they get, people come to them and seek help, and if you don't give, you're in trouble. So I think we have to be careful, because it means that you are going to not attract good people in the parliament of the country. If we continue this unfairness, we will have serious problem getting serious persons who want a proper life to come to the parliament of the country. It is simply not fair. So I just wanted to comment on this. And as I said, it's not, and not just because you have people in those ministries are making far more than the permanent secretary do. Who are public servants. They are people, and maybe they deserve it too. So I'm not here talking about the emolument for other persons. What I'm talking about, the unfairness of the principle. So I know, I am, Mr. Speaker, will move to ensure that parliamentarians are properly paid. And I want to take full responsibility for it. I don't want no other parliamentarian get blamed. Because I believe I have a conscience. And while I may not depend on it, they depend on it. And I feel they have a right to be given a proper livelihood, something to exist while they are parliamentarians. I have said over, with the attempt to adjust the salaries of parliamentarians, there will be an adjustment for the salary of the Prime Minister. Because it's a joke to be paying a Prime Minister $80,000. And you look at the salaries in the Caribbean. But I said, when it's announced, I would announce to the nation, I am not accepting the increase. The next Prime Minister will get it. It will be in the estimates. Most likely, I will tell the Ministry of Education, take the difference and give some poor children opportunities. That's my contribution. So I don't want anyone to think this was done for me. It is done to correct the injustice of the other ministers of government. I'm announcing that in Parliament today. So, Speaker, therefore, I move the second reading of this important bill.
Okay. Prime Minister Mitchell, as he spoke at the closing of last week's session of Parliament, Did he provide you with satisfactory justification? That's your homework for today. Pilgrims, I'm going to take another little break here, and then we'll come back. You're wondering, is he going to have a national report today? Of course we're going to have a national report today. Take a little break. Come right back with that.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical, and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners, and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandans, and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
It is Wednesday, the 20th day of November, 2018. Welcome to the National Report. Our top story, new proposal requested by unions in discussion on pension to go before Cabinet on Monday. Stay with us, we'll have the details to this story and more when the National Report returns. With the news in detail, I'm Delroy Lozan. A new proposal requested by trade unions that are in discussion with government's Pension Engagement Committee is expected to come before Cabinet on Monday. At a meeting held on Tuesday, it was agreed that the Pension Engagement Committee will provide requested data to the trade unions and staff associations by Friday, November 30th, 2018. It was also agreed that the committee will provide new proposals on pension restoration and reform to the unions and staff association by Tuesday, December 4th, 2018. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, spoke to the issue during a press conference at his official residence in Mount Royal on Tuesday.
The union asked for us, I think the report will come out, to present a new structure, a new proposal to them, and they will meet. That will come before Cabinet on Monday, and they will meet with the union again on Friday, and the crunch numbers being crunched.
Dr. Mitchell says some of the problems arising during the negotiations could be because of a misunderstanding of some of the issues. He says this shows the need for further education on the subject.
The problem we're discussing is about permanent staff. But you and I know there are a lot of people who are not permanent, who gave all their life to the government. So how could you leave them out? I mean, legally we could leave them out. But guys, the same problem we have with the present negotiations, they don't have a legal problem. That's why they're not going to court. It is a government that decided morally it is wrong what existed. So the same way we're saying it's morally wrong not to give the permanent staff some additional pension with government's input, it's also morally wrong to give the permanent staff and forget the unestablished, who in many cases were working for far less and sometimes gave as much service as those permanent ones. And some of them are retired and can't even buy proper medication. We will not stop here. Even after this is solved, we believe we have to go out in the villages and of course at the different government departments and sit down with staff and explain this whole issue of pension, because many of them will come to pension age sometime in the future. So they need to know.
Grenada is close to having visitor arrival numbers of 500,000 this year, and it's the first time this is happening in the history of tourism in the country. That announcement on Wednesday by Honorable Dr. Clarice Modeste-Kerwin, Minister for Tourism and Civil Aviation, when she addressed a tourism stakeholders consultation at the National Stadium. Over the last 2 days, the Grenada Tourism Authority has spearheaded a meeting of all agents in its international source markets to discuss what is taking place and to generate ideas that will result in new markets. All this is being done as Grenada observed Tourism Awareness Month under the theme Keep Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique Pure. Minister Modeste-Kerwin says while there is still some work to be done, they are making headway in creating and maintaining a pristine environment, having already moved to ban the use of styrofoam and plastic, an initiative supported by the Grenada Hotel and Tourism Association and a number of ministries.
Last week, we also went to amend legislation that we had placed in Parliament for the traffic wardens to also be environmental wardens, so that they will be the watchdogs. So as they look at the traffic, they're going to be looking at the indiscriminate dumpings. We're going to look at the great concern we have for the bus terminal, where the dumpings at the back have raised a lot of concerns in our ears, and we have heeded that. So in addition to directing traffic within the town and other strategic areas around Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, they also will be the watchdog for Pure Grenada to ensure that we do everything right.
Mr. Vincent Vanderpool Wallace of Bedford and Baker Group Travel, Tourism and Hospitality Advisors says people need to shift their mentality that tourism is an alternative to the more traditional jobs. He says one just needs to look at the figures to determine the sector's contribution to a country's economy.
The amount of money that the government gets directly from things like departure tax and from hotel guest night taxes is a fraction of the money that they get in total. What many people forget is that when you work in a hotel and all of the people in the hotel, most of their income is coming from tourism, when they take their paychecks and go to the supermarket and they pay VAT and all the other stuff, so that's tourism taxes too. When the stuff gets important and you pay duty on it, it goes to the hotel to pay for the stuff the people to consume, that's tourism taxes too. So the induced and indirect taxes that come from tourism, that's the peculiarity of the industry, is much, much greater than it is from the direct taxes in terms of departure taxes and hotel guest night taxes. If you don't believe me, go take a look. It is substantial. Here is a secret. You make more money after the customer arrives than on the front end on ticket taxes and some of the room taxes. By far. So what should we be doing? We should be making it as easy as possible for people to be able to get in and arrive in our country. Because you make more money after they get here than ever before.
You're watching the National Report. We'll have more news after this.
Big business don't participate.
Welcome back. Grenada's finance minister is happy that a Caribbean institution will be playing an even bigger role in the country's banking system. This comes following an announcement that Republic Financial Holdings Limited has entered into an agreement to acquire Bank of Nova Scotia's banking operations in Guyana, St. Martin, and the Eastern Caribbean territories, including Grenada, at a purchase price of $123 million. During a press conference at his official residence at Mount Royal on Tuesday, Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell said while there may be less competition, there will still be diversity.
If one understood what was happening in the region, that was not something you can say that surprised us. It didn't surprise me. And I did indicate when I heard certain comments made not long ago by a leading director of the Bank from Nova Scotia, when I asked about the investment and the answer he gave, I was not surprised at the results I saw today.
Mr. Ronald F. Harford, chairman of Republic Financial Holdings Limited, says the acquisition represents another major milestone for the Republic Group. He said the agreement, which is subject to all regulatory approvals, affords them the opportunity to reach more clients in the Eastern Caribbean and Guyana, two markets they are already familiar with. The Republic Group's total asset base as at September 30th, 2018, stood at $10.5 billion, with equity at $1.5 billion and profits attributable to shareholders for the year ended September 30th, 2018 of $198 million. And finally in the news, one Grenadian in the diaspora is planning to bring the Starkey Hearing Foundation to Grenada in 2019 to ensure that persons who are hearing impaired have access to free hearing aids. Being hearing impaired herself, Ms. Cecilia Yvonne James says she responded to the existing need for access to services by founding I Hear You, Inc., the organization that is partnering with the Starkey Foundation. We get the details from Annette Moore.
Cecilia Yvonne James, who resides in New York, says she grew up in Grenada at a time when services for the hearing impaired were not readily available.
I'm very passionate about this project. Based on my experience, when I migrated to the U.S., I found out that I was deaf in my left ear, hard of hearing in my right. So it's been a journey, and just want to give back to Grenada.
The Starkey Hearing Foundation has been around since 1984. Our founder and co-founder, Mr. Bill and Tanya Aston, have been running the foundation since 1984. Our program is really about providing hearing aids to those who can't afford it.
Our mission is to give the gift of hearing and speech to children who are deaf, hard of hearing, or deaf-blind. And at this point, we are partnering with Starkey Hearing Foundation to do just that, to identify all persons on the island, children, elderly, all children, all of the Grenadian population, identify those with hearing loss, hearing problem, and to find the solutions.
Jameson Richards met with the Minister for Education, Human Resource Development and Religious Affairs, Honorable Emmeline Pear, and stakeholders representing the hearing impaired and deaf community on October 30th.
Our meeting today with the Ministry of Education has really been a highlight of confirmation that the program is needed and the ministry is going to partner with us. In talking with both the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education, there is no program in place for providing hearing devices to those in need. So we not just provide the hearing aids and provide the batteries. We also have a team in country that's going to carry on the program, which is the aftercare program, the phase 3, ensuring that patients are seen in any given month and they have a place they can come to. So it's having a service center where patients can come to.
We can also provide vision tests and glasses if needed. Whatever it is to complete the whole child.
This would have a great impact in terms of the academic performance of our students, because now that our students will be fitted with an assistive device, a hearing aid, this of course will spill over into their performance academically.
The Starkey Hearing Foundation will conduct a training program to engage Grenadians who want to volunteer to be part of their mission.
When I go back to headquarters and I speak with the leadership team, they're going to be excited about what the future holds in Grenada for the Starkey Hearing Foundation.
For the initial mission day in 2019, I Hear You and the Starkey Hearing Foundation will be looking for sponsors who can contribute anything from food and water to accommodation and transportation to assist in providing these free medical services to the public. For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
Thank you, Annette. That story concludes the National Report for Wednesday, 28th November 2018. Our top story, new proposal requested by unions in discussion on pension to go before Cabinet on Monday. That's all from us here at the Government Information Service. I'm Delroy Louzan. Thanks for joining us.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas, will give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
Spread some cheer and show you care with GRENADA's Give-A-Wish promotion. Do you know someone who has had a challenging year and deserves some good fortune, or a worthy cause that needs extra support? Grant them a wish this holiday season with GRENLEC. Just pay your bill in full, then write their name, address, and phone number on the top portion of your bill. Add your phone number and drop it into the wish box at any of our GRENLEC customer centers, or you can enter online via our Facebook page. 15 customers will receive a $500 electricity voucher for giving a wish to someone who deserves it. And 15 winners will each have their wish granted, valued at up to $1,500. What's more, 230 lucky customers will win $75 electricity vouchers. Spread the cheer this year with GRENLEC's Give-A-Wish promotion. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends December 21st.
Alrighty, folks. Just about time to pull the curtain down on today's edition of Gudday Grenada. But as always, a parting word from the Holy Scriptures. Luke chapter 11, verses 9 to 13. So I say to you, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks, the door will be opened. Which of you, fathers, if your son asks for a fish, will give him a snake instead? Or if he asks for an egg, we'll give him a scorpion. If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give the Holy Spirit to those who ask him? That reading, pilgrims, came to you from Luke chapter 11, verses 9 to 13. On that note, just a reminder, please, later on today, check out Facebook or YouTube, and you'll get this program in its entirety without the hiccups. God bless you, my friends, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9.